I would like to see a change.
You'd like to see a change? What about going over that bridge? Are you at all concerned when you go over the bridge every day?
Jamal is in the pediatric intensive care unit of Memorial Medical Center. 2 other children were also in the Eagle, which police say was purchased that day. 3-year-old Willie Manigault and 7-year-old Justin Jones are both in good condition at the Medical University in Charleston. Their mother, 24-year-old Trina Manigault, underwent surgery at Hilton Head Hospital late last night. She is in stable condition. 3 people were in the Bonneville. 78-year-old George Murphy of Hilton Head owned the car, but was in the passenger seat last night. Copeland pronounced him dead on the scene. It took rescue workers more than an hour to free Murphy's next-door neighbor from the driver's seat of the car. 38-year-old May Lavinia Baird was taken by ambulance to Hilton Head Hospital, where she's in stable condition tonight. A 6-month-old boy was also in the Bonneville. Police say he was secure in a car seat. He was treated and released from Hilton Head Hospital last night. There is no word from police at this time on whether the victims were wearing seat belts. Coroner Copeland says he will not be able to release a blood alcohol report on Trina Manigault until at least Thursday. Reporting for the local news, I'm Terry Palmer.
It was a fatal evening north of the Broad River as well. 2 young brothers drowned in a borrow pit pond in Burton. Divers recovered the bodies of 13-year-old Nathaniel Middleton and his 11-year-old brother, Reginald Middleton, at 6:15 last night. It was a tragic double blow for the boy's mother, who was on hand as divers searched.
Got into trouble, and the other 2 attempted to help them, attempted to get them out, and apparently none of them could swim.
The boys drowned in what appears to be a borrow pit near the Burton Fields ball field. It's shallow in some parts, but up to 12 feet in others. The boys were found in deep water. Their deaths make 9 drownings so far in Beaufort County this year.
We have had more than our fair share of drownings this year, and I'm not sure. The different ones, we've had salt water, we've had fresh water, not that's what this is. So I'm not real, I can't explain. It does justify the need and the existence of such things as the YMCA that are trying to promote swimming safety.
Friends of the family have established a fund for the Middletons at the Palmetto Federal Savings Bank, P.O. Box 488, Beaufort, South Carolina, 29901.
Beaufort County Sheriff's deputies have caught a teenager who may be responsible for stealing jewelry from a neighbor. Sheriff's deputies arrested 17-year-old Theodore Yargan yesterday. Yargan is facing charges of grand larceny for stealing more than $2,300 worth of jewelry. Reports say Yargan and 6 other juveniles went to visit a friend, and after leaving the friend's house, several pieces of rare jewelry were reported missing. Detective Robert Arbella was working the case for the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department. He says sometimes these situations can be prevented.
Parents need to be aware that when their child tells them, I'm going to stay at a friend's house, they need to follow up on that. They need to make sure that the child is at the friend's house like they said. And they need to also be comfortable with that parent that they're leaving the child with.
The Huddle House on New Orleans Road on Hilton Head Island will not close for good, despite extensive damage. The restaurant almost became a drive-through on August 16th when a Ryder truck smashed into it. The crash cracked the support wall of the building and caused the ceiling to fall in on one of the lunch customers. 26-year-old Kevin Corbett of Pritchardville was treated and released from Hilton Head Hospital that day. No charges were filed against the driver of the Ryder truck. Police said he misjudged the height of the truck in relation to the restaurant's roof. Officials say extensive repairs are needed, but they hope to reopen the Huddle House within a month. The Sun City Hilton Head development just off Hilton Head Island is set to begin sales in the near future. The 8,000 home
plans requiring the removal of endangered trees. And I take that to mean that the court was saying that the board, number one, has to follow procedures which allow a reviewing court to look at what they did and say, yeah, they did it the right way. But beyond that, the Court of Appeals said, not only that, you have to show us why this situation is so different that you should allow somebody to cut down endangered trees, and you haven't done that.
Fairbanks is quick to point out that the ruling does not mean Publix cannot build a supermarket on the Ladies Island site, just that the reasons for the tree removals have to be better substantiated and approved. Another environmental group is using the legal time lag to toughen up the county's tree ordinance.
So we're hoping to make something that someone can pick up and read and understand without there being a misinterpretation, but at the same time providing good protection for the trees.
Do you think as it stands now there is enough protection for the trees?
We're hoping to get the guidelines in order with what Beaufort County needs. Currently, the draft that's being proposed is weaker than both the Charleston and Mount Pleasant ordinances, and we feel that Beaufort has some special areas and that the Beaufort citizens are interested in something better than what Charleston and Mount Pleasant have.
Beaufort County authorities are still waiting for the results of the coroner's blood alcohol report before deciding whether to file charges against a Hilton Head woman. Coroner Kurt Copeland said the results would be ready this afternoon, but so far no news on what Trina Manigo's blood alcohol level was when she lost control of her car on Route 278 last Wednesday night. Her 6-month-old daughter Dominique and a 78-year-old man in an oncoming car were killed in the crash.
The State Highway Patrol is reporting more fatal accidents on South Carolina's highway this weekend. 8 people died over the 3-day counting period, which started at 6 in the evening Friday and ended midnight last night. That figure is up from Labor Day fatality totals last year, when only 5 people died over the holiday. The good news is none of those 8 fatalities happened in our 4-county area. But there was a serious accident on I-95 in Jasper County at 6 this morning, and 2 patients were taken by Lifestar to Savannah Memorial Medical Center, where their names and conditions were not available at news time.
This weekend's marches on Hilton Head Island did more than just promote both sides of the Confederate flag issue. They hurt merchants on what was supposed to be one of the busiest weekends of the year. David Springer has more.
One of the most hard-hit areas for merchants this weekend was Wexford Village, just inside the starting point for both marches. While many of the store managers didn't want to go on camera, everyone we talked to agreed that for 3 or 4 hours each day, all the businesses within Wexford Village might as well have been closed.
It was very dead from probably 10 in the morning until 3 o'clock. We had a hard time with customers who either got into the village at Wexford and couldn't get out, or people who couldn't even get in.
The owner of Creative Kitchens says she lost 1/3 of her business, which relates to hundreds of dollars. Other store managers state they paid their employees to basically stand around and do nothing for several hours as police blocked off the entire parking lot during both marches.
Being there are no businesses on the left side of the road, on the other side of the road, it was just this side of the road with all the businesses on it was blocked off, and that the other side with no businesses were not blocked off, so that the traffic, the marchers should have been on the other side.
But not all the businesses on Hilton Head were hurt. The NAACP actually encouraged its supporters to visit Abe's Shrimp House, one of the few African-American-owned businesses on the island. But for the most part, many merchants hope that if marches ever occur on Hilton Head again, Town Hall consider them, as well as the protesters. For the local news, I'm David Springer.
Educational standards are higher this year at McCracken Middle School, and school officials say students just better get used to it. 8th graders posted a 28% failure rate for the 1993-94 school year, but McCracken Principal Richard Hitch says that number is misleading.
I think it's important that we recognize that some students don't do the things that they need to do in the classroom that will allow them to be promoted. The fact of the matter is that of those kids in the 8th grade that were retained, a large percentage of them went to summer school and completed the requirements to be promoted to the 9th